Are you ignoring the quiet warnings just because they disappear after a few minutes? A mini stroke, or what we call a TIA, transient ischemic attack, is the body's quiet alarm for a real stroke coming. And if you're between the ages of 60 and 80, the danger is much closer than you think. In just seconds, a slurred sentence, a numb hand, or a moment of sudden dizziness could be the first knock on the door. But most people, especially older adults, tend to brush it off, thinking it's just fatigue or aging. Here's the truth. Roughly 1 in 3 people who experience a mini-stroke will suffer a major stroke within days or weeks. And the scariest part? Most of them never realize they were warned. A TIA doesn't leave permanent damage, but it is your final chance to act before it's too late. Today, I'll help you recognize 10 critical signs, ranging from brief confusion to sudden imbalance, that no one over 60 should ever ignore. Because up to 80% of strokes can be prevented if we catch these quiet SOS signals in time.
Before I walk you through these 10 signs, let me share a true story, a painful but necessary one, about a father. This happened to Richard, a 49-year-old man from Ohio. He was strong, hardworking, spent his life in construction. He smoked. He drank. He knew it wasn't healthy, but like many, he kept going. Stress, routine, and a belief that he was still young made it easy to ignore the risks. But that afternoon, everything changed. Right after smoking a cigarette, Richard turned to speak to his wife, and in an instant, the left side of his mouth twisted, his tongue went numb, and one side of his face froze and turned pale. He couldn't speak, his body slumped, his eyes lost focus. Within seconds, his family called 911. He made it to the hospital quickly, but not quickly enough. Doctors diagnosed a massive stroke caused by a severe blood clot blocking a major artery in the brain. The blood supply had been cut off for too long. When circulation returned, the damage was already irreversible. Just a few hours later, Richard passed away. He was only 49.
I don't tell this story to scare you. I tell it because I believe you can stop this from happening. If those warning signs had been recognized, if action had been taken just minutes earlier, the outcome might have been different. Please listen to your body. Don't ignore what seems small, because sometimes that whisper is the final knock before the storm. Today we're going to break down 10 key signs and features of a mini-stroke. Some of them are common, others are more subtle and easily overlooked, especially in people between the ages of 60 and 80, where certain changes are often misattributed to aging. Understanding these signs can help you take decisive action. Let's begin. Our first 2 points are not specific symptoms, but rather the nature of TIA warnings themselves, patterns that often lead to dangerous delays in seeking help. First, symptoms appear suddenly, then disappear, a deceptive danger. This is perhaps the most deceptive and dangerous characteristic of a TIA. The symptoms typically appear very suddenly. One moment you feel fine, the next something is clearly wrong. But then, just as suddenly, they can vanish. Within minutes, or perhaps an hour or two, you might feel completely back to normal. This is where the peril lies. It's human nature to feel relieved when a strange symptom goes away. You might think, oh, that was odd, but I'm fine now. That temporary resolution doesn't mean the underlying danger has passed. In fact, it's screaming at you. That brief episode was your brain's cry for help. The single most important message here is, never ignore symptoms simply because they are resolved. That fleeting moment is your window of opportunity to act before a potentially irreversible major stroke occurs.
Second, symptoms easily mistaken for other common issues like aging, stress, or fatigue. Many TIA symptoms can mimic or be easily confused with other common ailments or sensations that are sometimes, unfortunately, dismissed as just part of getting older. For instance, a sudden bout of dizziness might be chalked up to a bit of dehydration. Slight confusion or momentary forgetfulness. Oh, it's just a senior moment. The key differentiator, often, is the sudden and uncharacteristic onset of the symptom compared to your normal state of health. If something feels distinctly off and new, don't automatically write it off. It warrants a conversation with your doctor, or, if severe and sudden, an immediate call to 911. Now, let's move into the specific symptoms themselves. Remember, any of these, especially if third, sudden difficulty speaking or slurred speech, aphasia or dysarthria. This is a classic stroke and TIA warning. The language centers in your brain require a constant supply of oxygenated blood. If that supply is briefly cut off during a TIA, your ability to communicate can be instantly impaired. You might experience aphasia, which can mean difficulty finding the right words or understanding speech. Another form is dysarthria, where speech muscles become weak, causing slurred or mumbled speech. The key is the suddenness. Fourth, sudden confusion or trouble understanding speech. This goes beyond just speech production. It's about your brain's ability to process information. You might suddenly feel disoriented, unable to follow simple instructions, or find conversations baffling. This type of acute confusion, sometimes called delirium, occurs when blood flow to the brain's frontal and temporal lobes, crucial for executive function, is compromised. A TIA-related confusion is an abrupt, alarming shift from your normal mental state. Fifth, sudden weakness or numbness, typically on one side. This is a hallmark of stroke and TIA, sudden weakness or numbness, almost always affecting one side of the body, your face, an arm, or a leg. If blood flow to one side of the brain's motor cortex is interrupted, the opposite side of your body will be affected. You might notice one side of your face drooping, or one arm drifting downwards. This unilateral nature is a very strong indicator.
Sixth, sudden dizziness, severe loss of balance, or lack of coordination. This isn't just feeling a bit unsteady. It's an abrupt and often intense sensation. You might experience vertigo, where it feels like you or the room is spinning, or suddenly lose your balance and stumble, gait ataxia. Your cerebellum and brainstem are critical for balance. If a TIA disrupts blood flow here, your equilibrium can be thrown into chaos, increasing fall risk, especially in older adults. Seventh, sudden temporary vision changes. This can manifest as suddenly blurred vision or diplopia, double vision. A particularly alarming symptom is a morosis fugax, a temporary loss of vision in one eye, often like a dark curtain falling. Others might experience partial vision loss in both eyes, homonymous hemianopia, or see bright flashing lights, scintillating scotoma. These occur because the occipital lobe, your brain's visual processing center, isn't receiving adequate blood flow. Eighth, severe, sudden headache, often the worst headache of my life. This is a type of headache you should never ignore, a severe and intensely painful headache that comes on suddenly, like a clap of thunder, reaching maximum intensity within seconds. This vascular stress can trigger what doctors call a sentinel headache, warning of potential underlying danger. Ninth, sudden tingling sensations or paresthesia, often one-sided. The medical term for this pins and needles sensation is paresthesia. It arises from a temporary lack of blood flow to the somatosensory cortex in your brain. Like other TIA symptoms, it's typically unilateral, affecting one side of your body, face, arm, or leg. You might feel it start in your fingertips and travel up your arm.
10th,
brief loss of consciousness or graying out, pre-syncope. This can be very frightening, a sudden brief loss of consciousness or a sensation of graying out as if you're about to faint. Medically, this is a pre-syncopal episode or syncope. TIA-related episodes occur when blood flow to the reticular activating system in your brainstem, your brain's alertness center, is temporarily compromised. Even a very brief episode is a highly significant red flag. So, to recap quickly, those are 10 critical signs and characteristics. Symptoms that appear then disappear, symptoms easily mistaken for other issues, sudden difficulty speaking or understanding, sudden confusion, sudden one-sided weakness or numbness, sudden dizziness or loss of balance, sudden temporary vision changes, a severe sudden headache, sudden tingling sensations, and a brief loss of consciousness or graying out. If you witness any of these signs in yourself or someone else, remember the acronym FAST. F is for face drooping. Ask the person to smile. Does one side of the face droop? A is for arm weakness. Ask the person to raise both arms. Does one arm drift downward? S is for speech difficulty. Ask the person to repeat a simple sentence. Is their speech slurred or strange? T is for time to call 911. If you observe any of these signs, call 911 immediately. Every second counts. Brain cells die rapidly during a stroke, so the faster a person receives medical attention, the better their chances of recovery. Time is brain. Do not wait. Do not try to drive. Call emergency services. While we focused on signs, briefly, common risk factors for TIA and stroke, especially in the 60 to 80 age group, include high blood pressure, diabetes, smoking, high cholesterol, atrial fibrillation, a previous TIA or stroke, and a family history. Managing these is key to prevention. Recognizing a TIA is the first, most crucial step in preventing a major stroke. These 10 signs are your body's critical alarm. Listen to it. For those of us in our 60s, 70s, and 80s, being proactive and vigilant is about empowerment and giving ourselves the best chance for a long, healthy, independent life.
A mini-stroke may last just a few minutes, but ignoring it can change your life forever. Stroke doesn't always arrive like thunder. Sometimes it knocks gently. A drooping face, a slurred word, a stumble you weren't expecting. The real danger? We feel relieved when the symptoms disappear, and we move on. I've seen it. I've lived it. Now you know the 10 warning signs. Please share them with your loved ones, especially those aged 60 to 80, or anyone with high blood pressure, diabetes, or a smoking history. Because 80% of strokes can be prevented if we recognize and act on the early warnings. You're not too late, but you do need to start today. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share it with someone you care about. That one click might save someone's life. And finally, thank you for staying until the end of this video. Your time means something. It tells me that you care about your health and the health of the people around you. I'm a doctor, and I'm here to walk this journey with you. See you in the next video, where we keep protecting your heart and your brain one small choice at a time.